Hey y'all, what's up? It's your girl, Miss Spirit. And yes, you read the title right. Today I am spilling tea and sharing the story on why I had to boycott my first hair business and how it was stolen right from underneath me. The tea's piping hot, and this is a story I never thought I would share, but I was challenged by one of my favorite companies in the world to share my boldest video, and this is it. So Dossier, literally my favorite company because all the perfumes and scents that I have for them leave me smelling so good. I like pick up a shirt, it smells great, and everyone that walks by me is like, "Oh girl, you smell good." So they sent me 2 surprise scents. I don't know what's in this box, just like you don't know about what's about to come next in this story. So let's smell these scents, and then we're gonna get into this tea, sis, because I want to avoid this pitfall for anybody else that is seeking help or investment in their business. Scent number 1. I'm nervous. What did they send? Okay. Woody Vetiver. And this is inspired by Frédéric Malle Vetiver Extraordinaire Eau de Parfum. Alright, y'all. You know what we have to do. Okay. Cute color. We have to do the waft because that's how we get a scent. Oh my, hold on now. It smells like rich by the fireplace in Aspen. It's giving fur coats. It's giving snowing outside. It's giving sipping a little bit of red wine and looking fancy, baby. This Woody Vetiver smells so good. And it smells like something that a man can wear. Okay, that's cute. That's cute. That's real bold. Okay, let's see what else they've given us. I love surprises, but I hate them at the same time. I'm such a control freak. Okay. This one is musky green tea inspired by Creed. Silver Mountain Water Eau de Parfum. Now, I heard of Creed before. That girl's expensive. Okay, let's see what's going on. Okay. Oh wow, this smells like springtime. Pink flowers floating all around. A little river in the background. It's so sweet but still earthy. I'm in love with this. This is so fresh. It's very fresh. This is musky green tea. So if you have not seen any of my videos about Dossier, Dossier is a perfume company that recreates the most luxury and iconic scents at a wonderful price, honey. So basically, if you have something that you've been wanting to try, but it's a little bit high on the budget, go ahead and check out Dossier, type in the name of your favorite scents, or go to their bestsellers list, or just pick a random scent. Everything I have from them smells so good, and smelling good is one of my favorite things to do, so bow. Let's get into this tea. Okay, let's talk. So you see my hair, it's bold, purple, blue, red lip, nose cuffs. The girl is feeling like a brand new woman. So if you guys want to see how I did my hair, go to my Instagram, Spirit Loves Beauty, and you'll see how I did this with the As I Am hair paint wax. All right, now let's talk, okay? Y'all know my first company. I quit my job, and we're gonna just rewind it back to 2018. I quit my job at Bloomingdale's because I believed in my hair business. I believed that I had something that was going to make the girls gag and buy and was going to support my life. And that business was Spirit Loves Da-da-da. And I'm not going to say the name because they're not getting no free publicity from me. So I started my hair business selling sprinkles. And it started doing really well for me. And not well enough to the point where like, okay, I don't have to work at all. But I was working gigs and fulfilling orders, about 30 to 40 orders a week, over 100 orders a month. And I was in the throes of entrepreneurship, learning, but I was getting a little bit stressed, a little overwhelmed because I have so many ideas of products that I wanted to put out, but I just needed help. Honestly, I needed help. And so when I moved into a new apartment, I shared with one of my neighbors who he and I used to be cool. It was an older guy. We used to like kick it sometimes. Nothing on no funny stuff, you know, just like kick it, talk. And maybe about 5 months into knowing him, I shared with him that how well my hair business was doing. And I'll say that when you're looking back in a story, sometimes you look at red flags. So the first red flag that I had was the first day that I met him. He was like, you're so full of personality. What do you do? And I was like, oh, I'm a YouTuber and I have my own hair business. He was like, oh, I'd like to make you a show, like get you to do a live show. And I'm like, oh my God, finally someone sees what I see in myself. So that was the first day meeting him. And he was like, you know, I have a lodge that you could do the show at and we could charge for tickets and you'll get a percentage of it, things like that. So that was kind of how we met. And that made me excited. It made me feel like I had met someone who actually believed in what I wanted to do with my life. So now fast forward 5 months later, we've been talking, trying to plan the show. It wasn't really working out. But I did let him know that my hair business had been doing pretty well for myself. And in my first year, I did like $25,000 all my own with my sprinkles. And he was like, what? And I was like, yeah. And so someone has told me now, like, you never share how well your business is doing with people because sometimes they're gonna try to like get a piece of that pie. And that's what happened. He offered to be an investor in my business. And he didn't know this, but in my private moments, I was like, God, please send me help, Lord. Send me some help. I need help. So when he offered, I was like, yes, I'll take it. And he was like, so what do you have? And basically with my business, I had kind of just been going rogue. You know what I mean? I wasn't writing down all my expenses. I didn't exactly have an LLC. I was just trying to put them orders up, post them pictures, sell it, package it, and make sure people got their stuff in enough time. I was making sure that I was sourcing products that I thought were high quality. I was trying to find ways to cut expenses, but still making sure that I kept everything top notch. I wanted to brand, I wanted to expand, update the website. At the same time, I'm writing my logbook. So I did it, but I will be honest, I didn't have all of my operations together as far as like the legalities of running a business where you might want to trademark, you need your LLC, so you're doing business legally, the EIN, all those things I didn't have. And it's because I just didn't really feel like I had the time to do so while I'm still fulfilling orders, making sure products are good, blah, 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 blah. So he like, okay, I'm gonna help you with the legal stuff. Like, let's get your business incorporated. So when someone says they want to be an investor, my first thought is that they're going to hit you with a lump sum. You know what I mean? Like, here's $10,000 to infuse into your business so that you can get things where they're supposed to be. What he did, so he offered to do the legal stuff for my business, but when he did it all under his name. So I'm like, well, why aren't we doing it under my name? And he was like, well, we're more like business partners. So I'm like, okay. And this the thing, y'all. He told me we could work together under terms of 70-30, where he was 70% of my business. And I'm like, no. So then he's like, okay, well, no deal. And I'm like, damn, I need some help though. So, okay, deal. And I remember like I sat on that for about a week and a half. And he was like, well, no, you want to be 70-30 because if you're out of town and I need to sign something or I need to handle some business for you, like you're going to be doing other stuff. You're going to be all over the place. So you're not going to have time to be running this business. So I need to be able to handle things without you being there. And I'm like, okay, yeah. Makes sense. All right. But I still was never truly comfortable with that. And so that's a lesson that I've learned is if you are not comfortable with something, don't move forward on it. That's red flag number 2. So I moved forward on it. He's doing the trademarking and applying for the trademarks for my business name, and he's putting it under himself, under his address. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. He's like, well, no, just so if people ask me when I'm trying to do stuff, it's under my name and they know that I'm officially a part of the business. How would they know I'm a part of the business? I'm like, well, how would they know I'm a part of the business? But he was paying for it. So he paid for that. That was probably like $600. We gonna add a little total up. Let's start putting the totals down right here. $600. So already I didn't like that. But now we done made a contract. We done legally gone into business. And then this is when I had already developed my hairspray, but I didn't buy everything for it because I didn't have enough money. And that's why I wanted an investor. And so we started working together and buying the things for me to be able to make my bottles of the leave-in conditioner. And he paid for everything that night. And then the business paid for the business paid him back probably about half of it. So we're gonna say he invested another $1,000 on top of that, okay? Yeah, added on there. The hairspray was my formula. Of which I did give to him so that he could make a model. And what the model did was I put in how many bottles I wanted, and it told me, it multiplied the number of bottles that I needed to have, and made that. So let's say I wanted to make 50 bottles. The model calculated how much of each ingredient I needed to be able to make 50. So that was really helpful for me. And I thought that he was going to be someone who helped me make the products. And that wasn't the case. And I thought that he was going to be someone who actually invested a check that I would be able to determine where it goes. So what happened is we ordered the stuff for the bottles, we redesigned the labels, and he got those things for me, which I'm still grateful for to this day. But when it came time to make the bottles, because now I've added another product. You know, I had sprinkles. Sprinkle was already overwhelming me with the amount of work that I was doing. So adding another product only meant more work for me. One day, y'all, I look up and he had ordered $700 worth of bottles. And I remember being so pissed because I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you making more work for me? He was like, this is how you invest in a business. You don't give the money, you just put the money into the products. And I'm like, but you're making my life harder. It's already hard enough with my actual customers. He's like, no, I bought all these so that I could send them out to my friends and family, get the feedback on the product. I'm like, okay, can you help me make the bottles? And he was like, no, I don't have time to help. That's your job. So he created, so we're gonna add another 700 into the business, but then we're also gonna add another 70 hours worth of work for me to do. Because you have to understand, when you're a small business, you are making the product, packaging the product, labeling the product, packaging it up for shipping, and then going to the post office. So I was doing this once or twice a week. And it was basically like I was working 40 to 50 hours a week on my company. And before he got there, my company paid all of my bills, thankfully. And then he was like, well, we need to get a business bank account. You can't be mixing your personal funds with your business funds. And I'm like, okay. So I tried to get a business bank account and I wasn't approved. But also remember, his name was on the stuff. So he was like, well, let me get the business bank account. You'll always have access to it. I'm going to be the chief financial officer. He was going to be the CFO and I was going to be the CEO. And I always have access to it. So they wouldn't open the account with me on it. So they took me off of it. He opened the account and y'all, so we started working together in November 2019. January 2020, we got the business bank account. I never had access to it. He promised me I'd have a card, I'd have the username, the password. Every time I tried to use the username and password that he gave me, never got into it. And the thing is, when we got that business bank account, all the money started going into there. And I went from living off the money from my company to having nothing. And I don't think y'all understand what it's like to work for 40 hours, 50 hours, and have $0 at the end. So I had to go and get a job after I started working with him. And I was so fucking pissed, and I knew I had made a bad decision literally 2 months into it. So now I'm working 30 hours a week, then I'm coming back home and working another 40 hours a week on my business. My job could barely pay all my bills, but the business was taking all of my free time, and I was making no money from it. And I kept complaining like, I need help, I need to be paid, I need to be paid. I'm keeping everything from the business in my room, and my room is getting filled up, my house is getting filled up with, so I was like, okay, well, you need to at least help me with ordering stuff. So I'm like, order 50 bottles. He would order 250 bottles. I'm like, why are you ordering that much? Where's it gonna go? He's like, just keep it in your house. So I have these huge ass boxes in my room, huge ass boxes in my house, which is shared by other people. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, y'all, I'm gonna get it out of your space. And damn, this is like, I'm having like recall all of this. Basically, it felt like my business wasn't even benefiting me anymore. Then we start trademarking it, and he brings on his lawyer, and his lawyer is an asshole, a complete asshole, rude towards me, and they're having conversations behind my back that I'm not privy to, and they're like, well, you have to sign that we're allowed to use your name because Spirit is my name, so you can't just trademark a business name that is in reference to somebody. So I held off for literally 6 months before I gave them permission to use it. As soon as I gave them permission, shit really went left. The pandemic hits. So when the pandemic hits, I had noticed that I was basically entering a depression where it wasn't a sad depression, it was an angry depression. I could not believe that I had let someone steal what I had worked so hard for on my own and take advantage of me. And I felt stupid, I felt embarrassed, I felt ashamed. I'm like, damn girl, you too naive, too trusting. And so when I had the breakdown, I just stopped answering the phone. I stopped helping with everything, but he already had everything after that. He had everything. He didn't need me anymore. And then one day I checked my mail. I had a box of storage down in the mail room, and he had gone through my things and taken things from me. And I couldn't believe it. So I'm like, of course he took physical things from me because you're a thief. You stole my business. You stole my business name. You stole my formula, like everything. And I'm glad I had stopped sharing ideas months before, once I realized that I was dealing with a crook. I didn't tell anybody. For over a year, I suffered in silence. My roommates knew, my boyfriend knew, but I kept trying to run the business because I didn't want people to know what I was going through behind the scenes. I didn't want to have bad press and look embarrassed. It's the truth. I was embarrassed. I was ashamed of myself. So I kept doing that work for 9-10 months straight with no pay. 40-50 hours a week. It's crazy when I think about it. And then March of this year, I felt like I couldn't let him get away with that. So I went into the store. I took all of my customers' names and emails down, saved them, and then I just started refunding all the orders I could refund. I just kept refunding as much as I could. So not only did he steal the business, he was making it look bad. He was shipping orders out a week, 2 weeks late. He was not answering customer emails. So it's like, now you're ruining my reputation at the same time. So I took the customer info and data that I could. I removed my book, my intellectual property. And then I called for a boycott. And I was in Atlanta, and I remember telling my parents, I finally told my parents what had happened to me over that year. I just felt so taken advantage of, and I finally shared. And they were really supportive, and I'm so thankful for that. I wish I would have broken my silence sooner. I think that when we are suffering, sometimes it can feel better to keep it to yourself. But keeping it to myself is what made me crack. It was the mental stress and the mental pressure that made me crack. But once I shared it, I felt so free. So that's why I stopped promoting my products. That's why I stopped sharing them. Emotionally, it took me so long to break away because it was my baby. That business was everything to me. And so to have it go to shit so easily was really hard for me. And I had to learn to forgive myself for that mistake that I made. And to learn to do more research and due diligence before I work with people. And I would say that to anybody who has a business and is looking for a little help. My mentor taught me what an investor is. They should have a rate sheet. An investment sheet, an investment schedule. And you should be telling them what the money's for, but they should never be causing more work. And it really broke me. In March, I did the boycott. And I thought I was going to be able to just start my business back up again. And I still had to go through a lot of emotional healing from that. And releasing and letting go, and even sharing the story is helping me, because now I feel ready.